this is a man who won back-to-back PFA Young Player of the Year awards in 16 and 17, represented England at the Euros and the World Cup, got to a semi-final.
And he's just such a joy to watch when he's on it and going, when him and Ericsson were playing together.
Weirdly, fans have this weird expectation they should be going out enjoying themselves, blah, blah, blah. But then when they don't, it's, oh yeah, he's a bit boring and robotic. Yeah.
It's 365 days a year these players need to be on it.
I don't think many of us, and I would hasten to include you and I in this, Jack, look at Harry Kane and can relate that much.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Transfers Exposed. I'm Will Pugh and alongside me is football reporter Jack Rosser. Jack, it's wonderful to have you next to me in the Transfers Exposed studio, mate.
Delighted to be here, mate. This is your exclusive press pass to all the hottest transfer rumours direct from the Sunsport newsroom.
Exactly. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the transfer window until it slams shut on September the 1st, breaking down all the biggest moves and the facts and figures behind each and every one of them.
One of the more perplexing, maybe difficult ones this summer will be Dele Alli. Where's he going to go? It's often a question around him. We're going to dig into that now.
Absolutely, mate. So he joined Como in January on an 18-month deal with an option. The club had an option of an extra 12 months on top of that. After just one game, 9 minutes of play for Como, he came off the bench for his debut in March before he was sent off for a tackle on Ruben Loftus-Cheek just 9 minutes later. He's now been told by Como boss Cesc Fabregas, Jack, to find a new club. It's the latest chapter in the somewhat sad story, quite frankly, of Dele Alli's career and the sort of downcline of his career since he left Tottenham. Some reports suggesting he was considering retirement, but the Sunsport understanding is that he wants to carry on playing. Dave Kidd's written a brilliant piece, our chief sports correspondent, in the paper this morning. So delicate, modern game is tough on stars. Before we get into that, Rangers have been mooted as a potential location for Dele Alli. Literally just this morning, those reports coming out, potentially on a pay-as-you-play, incentivised type deal. We'll get into that in a little bit, but just before, what do you make of the whole situation with Dele Alli at the moment, given, of course, taking into account all of the revelations he made 2 years ago now in that interview with Gary Neville about his childhood?
It is sad, really, isn't it? I think you sort of, it was heartbreaking that sending off all the players that were, Kyle Walker was on the pitch, Ruben Loftus-Cheek was on the pitch, almost arguing his case with the referee to keep an opponent from being sent off, saying, don't do it.
Against AC Milan, that was, yeah.
They were all with him. Within England, the run to the semi-finals in 2018, they were part of that journey and know what a special player he can be. Kyle Walker obviously played with him at Tottenham as well. And I think you always cast your mind back to that era, don't you? I covered a lot of Pochettino's Tottenham, and he's just such a joy to watch when he's on it and going, when him and Ericsson were playing together well, linking with Harry Kane and just pulling strings everywhere, doing things that you don't see many footballers do anywhere in the world at the moment, that sort of more maverick side of it, but with a toughness and a real aggression about him as well, and that delicate nature to it. I think, he was someone that anyone who liked football would enjoy watching. And I think with every move, someone, a fan, a teammate, a coach, wants to bring that back out of him and wants to see that again. So it's so heartbreaking when it doesn't really happen and doesn't work out. We heard it from Cesc Fabregas when he went there, bring him back, get him back going, and now not too many months later he's telling him to move on and find another club because it's not worked.
I mean, we'll do the Rangers bit in a minute and have a look at some of the details around that and how that may work, whether you think it might be a good idea or not. Under new boss Russell Martin, of course, disappointing start to their domestic campaign, that 1-1 draw away to Motherwell. But in that interview with Gary Neville, Dele Alli sort of revealed that he was molested when he was 6 years of age by a friend of his mum's. He was also smoking and dealing drugs by the age of 8, and that he'd recently been to rehab, or recently at the time of the interview, over an addiction to sleeping pills. That part of it and lots of other addictions are not at all uncommon among the modern young players, as you'll well know. But as Dave highlights so eloquently, as he always does this morning, is that in this day and age, whereas perhaps in the 90s, you still had footballers who were addicted to substances, predominantly alcohol and gambling were the two more popular ones that were often seen, and not that those don't exist now, but you've got a lot more talk of, as Dave writes, addicted to online gaming, addicted to porn, addicted to sleeping pills, as Dele Alli's mentioned there. Dave also talks about the constant demands on young players or professional athletes these days, and how much different they were perhaps to just 15, 20 years ago.
It's a completely different world, isn't it? You look back, even not even early Premier League, sort of early 2000s Premier League, the players, were huge figures in the papers every day. The internet was coming along and they're on there every day, but they don't have people following them around with a phone.
No.
They don't, the amount of times you've seen Dele Alli snapped or Jack Grealish out and about on holiday, something happening and that causes it up again. And, Dave's point is, we're not going to feel sorry for many footballers.
Yeah.
I think, the background that Dele Alli has definitely played into everything that's happened, and you get so many hangers on in football that will try and pull young people with a lot of money in some very dodgy and dangerous ways. And some will be more susceptible to that than others through no fault of their own.
And their support network of people they trusted before they became football superstars is so vital, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't all have that, do they?
No. And also, you've now got... It's 365 days a year these players need to be on it and absolutely going, especially now you've got Club World Cups coming in, Nations League adding to the international calendar.
Yep.
The World Cup is, ballooning in size next summer.
All
it's
these
more and more and
tours
more
that are all around the world,
pre-season, post-season tours. Even when they do get their 2 or 3 weeks break now, they're all putting videos up of them running, working every day with a personal trainer.
Yeah.
You've got to be switched on all the time, and that can be an incredibly difficult and challenging thing to do. So as Dave says, we don't feel sorry for them, but definitely not as fun to be a professional footballer anymore than it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's that 365-day a year requirement to be not just physically but mentally switched on. And Dave makes the point, and I must admit, I do agree with him, where the demands of modern day football almost weeds out any, and I don't want to say flawed characters, but though it almost weeds out those
or exposes
characters,
any,
or who are incapable of perhaps being as robotic as your Harry Kanes and your Kevin De Bruynes, who are just mentally, you can just tell, can't they? They're just wired a little bit differently to some players. I mean,
you see it in so many different sports as well. You look at Alcaraz and Sinner in the golf. You look at McIlroy and Alcaraz and Sinner in the tennis.
Yeah. Probably
McIlroy
good at golf as well.
The golf. Yeah. Alcaraz definitely is.
Yeah.
But the personalities you're drawn towards are the ones that have the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Yeah.
Rather than the robotic Sinner, Scheffler, De Bruyne, the ones that Haaland, the ones that just look like machines.
Yeah.
You're drawn to characters like Dele Alli because when they pull it off, and it's not always that they pull it off, but it's that magical moment of how have you thought of that? How have you seen that? The bravery to go and do that. And the fewer of those characters we have in football, because modern football can't find a place for them, the worse football's going to be.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Dave mentions Marcus Rashford, Jack Grealish, Raheem Sterling. I was surprised he included Sterling, to be fair, because he's achieved so much and for so long in the game. But Rashford, Grealish, Sterling, Lingard, Sancho and Barkley were the names Dave mentioned as players, sort of a symptom of this modern football, who burst out onto the scene.
And you thought would be there forever.
Exactly, show flashes of brilliance, but who just almost fizzled out as fast as they lit up in the first place. But Paul Gascoigne, Paul Merson, like Jack Grealish, as we mentioned there, it's those sort of fallible characters, isn't it? That football fans
falls in love
because
with.
It's relatable. I don't think many of us, and I would hasten to include you and I in this, Jack, look at Harry Kane and can relate that much.
Yes.
Whereas it's a bit easier to look at someone like Jack Grealish and, even Dele Alli and lots of these young players and go, well, precisely that, exactly. This notion that football players aren't, weirdly, fans have this weird expectation of football players aren't supposed to have, like, they shouldn't be going out enjoying themselves, blah, blah, blah. But then when they don't, it's, oh, yeah, he's a bit boring and robotic. Yeah. Rangers, though, Jack, is one of those stories, very, very early stages at the moment. Just suggestions that could that be a nice link up? Dele Alli going to link up with Russell Martin. Obviously, you'll know him extremely well, being a Southampton fan. He slammed his players, it's fair to say, after that draw at Motherwell, which stunned a lot of people. First game of the season, absolutely both barrels. Dele Alli to Rangers then, if it was to be an incentivised pay-as-you-play sort of deal, What do you think of it? Do you like the idea of it? Would that be a good link up with Martin?
It's a difficult one because you know, a lot of people will see and talk around it. You know, Brendan Rodgers going back to Celtic to sort of, or going there in the first place to almost build himself back up, going back there now after Leicester.
Yeah.
Russell Martin going to Rangers where he spent a short time on loan as a player to maybe rebuild his reputation a touch after the relegation with Southampton last year, or the sacking before the relegation at Southampton last year. They're not easy places to go and play. There's a huge amount of pressure there. There's a huge amount of spotlight. It feels like Como away from everything. Not a lot expected at a team like Como. Maybe a few, you know, Stardusty names sprinkled here and there wouldn't have helped. But it feels like that was a far better place to go away from everyone. Away from the press, it's a bit harder for everyone to get over there and see him now. We can all hop on the train up to Scotland and go and have a look if he's in that Rangers squad.
Yeah.
And there's a huge fan base there that expect a lot quickly. They won't want people coming in there on a free ride, a ticket to maybe do something once every now and then, even if it is a pay-as-you-play. You know, if you can go there and pull it off, amazing. What a place to go and do it. A very difficult place to go and pull off this renaissance we're all waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people talk will talk about how sad it is. That's a word often used. In fact, I think I already used it at the beginning of this video. But this is a man who won back-to-back PFA Young Player of the Year awards in 16 and 17, represented England at the Euros and the World Cup, got to a semi-final, and of course the Champions League final with Tottenham, all before the age of 23. If this is the end and we never see Dele Alli kick another football in a professional game ever again, actually, he's achieved so much more than...
Well, us too.
Well, definitely us too, but anyone can really expect.
I mean, you almost have to split it in two halves, don't you? Incredibly exciting player that really delivered and achieved a lot with Tottenham and England.
Yeah.
And then just not quite fulfilling that promise. Well, you say fulfilling, he's almost already fulfilled it. But
absolutely,
the possibilities were incredible, and that's what makes it so upsetting to see, really, and why everyone is really hoping to see one more shot of it. But I think fewer and fewer people are believing we will see one more shot of it.